Hello, everybody out there in comic book land. My name is George Serrano, aka The Don, and if you are listening to this, you can only be here for one reason. That's a brand new episode of the Major Issues Podcast, brought to you each and every week by comicbookclick.com. And as always, I am never alone. Sir, if you could please introduce yourself.
I am something of a scientist myself, Gregory Thomas, aka GT Rebirth.
GT Rebirth is here in the studio. Hopefully, the Goblin is at bay. But he's here, so sanity is waning, but he's here. He's here. We are fresh off of last week's episode covering the Thunderbolts. I mean, spoiler alert, New Avengers now. Since that campaign.
Big spoilers.
Big spoilers. Big spoilers.
Massive secret.
Real quick, what do you think about the film?
I enjoyed Thunderbolts. Florence Pugh is something of a powerhouse of the entire thing, and that is to be praised. They did a lot of what they could with like this ragtag group of misfits. It was like Marvel ECW. You know,
I hide their weaknesses, aka shoot Taskmaster.
Yes.
Shoot Taskmaster, accentuate the positives.
Yeah.
Smart.
There were a few tiny decisions I feel a certain way about, but like, one thing I hate John Walker's new beret. I hate it so much.
I kind of hate it too. I also don't think that even the regular helmet really works for him. I think the best look for him is unsheathed. I guess raw dog in the air with his head. I guess is what it would be received.
Blonde.
Yes, 100%.
So yeah, the beret is terrible. I don't like the new Avengers logo.
I don't either. But again, I laid a bunch of digital ink. I don't know if we're supposed to like it. And I think one of the other things about it that I'm gonna post is that, interestingly enough, the OG or the main Avengers logo that we all know has an arrow pointing right, which is almost like forward. The other one has the arrow pointing left. So it's like going back to basically we're going back to what you know kind of stuff. But opinions of the film aside, I'm just watching that thing and I thought about so much of the book that we're covering today, of Dark Avengers, and how this kind of whole thing plays out. Now, our Thunderbolts are way nicer, I would say, than some of the characters here. And the week before we saw the film Thunderbolts, we actually reviewed the first volume of Thunderbolts, 1997. So to kind of figure out how this whole team started. And a recurring theme in these stories between Thunderbolts, even the film, and now this Dark Avengers, is whether or not villains can be tempted by the hero life. Whether or not any extended time, even faking being a hero, can make people actually, want to be better people. I don't know if it's as effective in this story, or at least not at the point that we're at now. But it's an interesting concept nonetheless, and so much of it, like the whole Victoria Hand thing, feels like Valentina. I feel like Valentina is a mix between Osborn and Victoria Hand in this. I love Sentry, who's also in this. He gives me the same kind of vibes that I kind of felt like from the film, where he's somebody that everyone kind of babies because they're all terrified of what's going to happen if they get on his bad side. I had read this story years ago, but if you have watched the film and you kind of just want to live in that space for a little bit, I highly recommend reading this story because I feel like it's almost a continuation. It's almost like a what if story. Like a lot of the core of what you've seen in that film, but what if it went in this direction here? And I'm going to be one of those, like, back in my day kind of guys, but like this whole era of Marvel, I inhaled. This whole Secret Invasion, Civil War, House of M, everything had a beautiful domino effect in this time period. It felt like, right? Like you would, the events of House of M, like clearly then go into Avengers versus X-Men when the mutant population is decimated, but now we have a Phoenix Force that claims to want to repopulate the mutant population. The Avengers are not down with it. You have Civil War, which causes the fracture of the Avengers. So when Secret Invasion happens, they're more susceptible. And then it's Osborn who shoots the Scroll Queen, not any of the heroes, and thus he's deemed the hero of the story, and that's kind of how we get here with
Mm-hmm.
Osborn, starting Hammer and stuff. So this whole narrative, this whole part of Marvel lore, seamlessly kind of flows right into each other. Whereas of like now, I'm having a real hard time latching onto these crossover events that they're doing. Maybe they're too massive, or maybe they're not connected enough, or too connected. But
Yeah.
like, I haven't even really dipped my toe into One World Under Doom yet. Which is
I haven't even touched that. I don't know what's happening.
yeah. I just love it a lot. So many times I will open a Marvel book and be like, how did we get here? But this felt like coming home because this was a story and a time period I was very familiar with. What about you? Have you read this story before? And what do you think about it then? If not, what do you think about it now?
Oddly, I have no memory of Dark Avengers because I say oddly because I do know there was a period where I was reading a whole bunch of Bendis Avengers stuff. So like I had read Secret Invasion and I might have even read Siege and I had read the breakout stuff that started the whole Bendis Avengers run.
Right?
But for some reason I don't think I had actually read this. I think maybe I don't know if there was still the Avengers book that was running while Dark Avengers was running, and I just read that.
Hmm.
It's possible, but for whatever reason, I bypassed Dark Avengers and just kept on going until like Siege happened, and then Fear itself happened, or Ragnarok and all that stuff.
Ah.
So interestingly, this was like a return to a place which had like this this like dark seedy room that I kind of ignored when I was walking through town.
Yeah. Hey, you can't go into all the rooms, Bucky. Can't go
Uh,
into all those
uh
dark rooms.
yes. Jeez, I think I saw something the other day that says uh it's a blink if you or blink and you miss it, which is like he's walking out of the room, he's getting like brain souped in.
With the like that
Yeah,
apparatus where he sits in
with the
and
thing on
screams
his
a lot.
the thing on his
Yeah,
head.
yeah. His Weapon X sort of
Yeah.
get up. No,
And
that
then
makes sense.
is immediately just like, huh, what? No, no, it's cool. Whatever. I'm good.
So was it fun, like getting back into this, even if you weren't sure whether or not you read it before?
It was because like I was I'm very familiar with the outfit. It's like actually it's like my favorite War Machine outfit, the red, white, and blue one.
Yeah,
The whole Iron Patriot
I
get
don't.
up is
You know, I
actually
don't like
I
the.
dig
I
it.
don't like the other version.
Hmm?
I don't like the version from uh Iron Man 3. Too
Oh
blue.
really?
Too blue for
Too blue.
me. I like the red. I like the red in this. I like the. I like. The, I don't know. It feels more sinister. Maybe they did need it to be a bit more patriotic.
Maybe you know what? I don't remember the one from Iron Man 3 so specifically.
Yeah. I just remember it being more blue. It was not. It wasn't like the whole red top that Homeboy got with the star, and then everything else going
Right.
down, or whatever. It was more blue.
I'll have to look that up. Yeah, I always liked the Iron Patriot armor. I don't think I had such a clear understanding that he was like hiding villains under heroic garb.
Uh huh.
Um, and I don't know the one woman, the one,
Moonstone or
the one that's being Captain Marvel.
Moonstone. So what's
Sorry, Miss
interesting
Marvel.
is
Excuse.
that's a blind spot for me as well, except for
Okay,
the fact that she was on the Thunderbolts. They put her on the Thunderbolts at one point in the first volume, the very first volume. So I'd never heard of
okay,
this character before. And then she gets put on the Thunderbolts, and she's been on the Thunderbolts for, I want to say, like her entire time since then, because when we get into this story, she's being picked up at Thunderbolts Mountain. So it's like she joined in the Zemo era and just kind of, I mean, between here and there is just about 10 years.
right.
So she is a Thunderbolt through and through. She is a very gray character.
Okay,
Yeah, and so when she popped back up in here, I was like, I guess it's another team, just another faking it till we make it a hero team here. So that was the only sort of background I had on her, and they play fast and loose with her here. They don't really give us a bunch of facts about her. They just kind of tell us that she got some rock, some magical rock, might be some from Kree origin or something like that.
Yeah,
But
I was thinking the Sidorak,
yeah, could be.
because that's what Juggernaut has, right?
Yeah, that's his
Yeah.
homie. And then Strange uses the bands, bands on bands on
Yeah, it
bands.
took me a while before I actually
yeah,
put that together. Like, oh wait, that's the same thing.
yeah,
Ah,
yeah, 100%. What about Matt Gargan as Spider Man? This Venom, Scorpion Venom.
God, that took me so long to figure out because I assumed it was Brock,
Yeah, yeah,
and
I
then
think that's
like
fair.
and then like Bullseye keeps referring to him as fucking Mark, and I'm just like, wait, what? There was very confusing panels for a bit there.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
said, and this is gonna be unpopular, it is actually really fun to read Venom in the movie voice.
Oh yeah, when he's like that, yeah.
Yeah, it was
But
just
I
like,
think you need a more. I think you need a more anti-hero Venom though. I think you need like this kind of grubby, monstery Venom. I don't think the
yeah,
voice works as the regular. Like the regular just bulky Venom walking around helping cats out of trees. But I think as
I
this
get what you
like
mean.
I'm about to eat you Venom, I think that
Yeah,
totally works. Yeah.
but it's also like hilarious hearing the the Tom Hardy voice just going like making comments about the people he eats.
Oh yeah, yeah, that is true. I love Bullseye in this. I think Bullseye's a
Okay.
great character in this story.
I'm sorry, Bullseye. I did not mean to bite you.
Yeah, he says it all the time. They always like take your pills, bro. They always tell him
It was a mistake.
take your pills. But yeah, Bullseye's so fun in this. I guess because he's just a jerk. So
Yeah, and he's he's probably the most unruly to like Norman's face, but it's always just like, fine, whatever, bro. Jeez,
yeah.
totally gonna kill you when I get a chance.
What's interesting is I think I was gonna say that he's the biggest shit stirrer, but I think Captain Marvel might be up there a bit. And like I said, her history in the Thunderbolts, she was like Zemo's number two. And I think at some point Zemo just ends up not being on the Thunderbolts. So she's like,
Moonstone?
yeah. So she's like
Okay,
regarded as like a high, like a almost a veteran member of the Thunderbolts. So even in the beginning
right.
of this team, she's like, "Am I the leader?" Like she's like, like oh, either she. So
I thought I was the leader because
yeah,
Small was the leader.
yeah, and she's always sort of angling, like at least before, she was always angling for like that power, like to be the leader of this group. So when this starts,
So
and she's
she's
kind of doing it
Starscream.
too. Yeah, 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 yeah. He pretends to be loyal, but is constantly just trying to undermine the crazy boss.
And now I'm going to lead the Decepticons.
100%. But what's even funnier, I guess it's not. It was funny because it was at the time they give her the older Captain Marvel outfit, right?
Yes,
Because at the time Carol would have been wearing the sash.
the fucking Deodato just draws it as a straight thong in this book, and it was
yeah,
just like,
yeah.
come on.
They just make her cry. They threaten her, and she flies away. And I was like,
He's
wow,
like,
we
I'm
really
only
didn't
drawing
like.
her once. I'm getting everything out of this.
I was like, we really didn't like Carol, man. Back in the day, this is just proof they didn't give a damn. Um, But yeah, let's get into our recap and review of these 9 issues. I have a bit truncated notes here, but we will stop and just kind of chat about what's going on in the story as we go through it. So, you guys have not seen or read Thunderbolts. Oh, sorry, Dark Avengers issues 1 through 9. We're about to get started with it right now. Oh, and I should be actually telling the people, the creative team about behind this. I know it's Bendis, but I gotta get the artist for.
I did name one. I did just name one
Oh
of
yeah,
them. Mike Deodato is the
Deodato,
artist.
Deodato. Yeah, Brian Michael Bendis and Mike Deodato. I think they do the entire series.
Um, Mike Deodato was the artist for Ronda Rousey's written concept comic book.
The pregnant
Um,
assassin lady. Was she pregnant?
yes,
She was pregnant, wasn't she?
yes, she was
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah.
because expecting the unexpected. Quickly, George.
Was she in the writing room with Vince Russo when they were doing all this?
um, and also her and Mike Deodato sort of like bonded over the premise of the book, not only because like they were able to talk about comics, but because they are both martial artists.
Oh, yeah.
So they were
Those are
able to
two
really
very
work out the action scenes.
yeah, those are two very different professions right there.
Yeah. So there's even like I think there's even clips of like them sort of actually physically working out the action scenes that they were going to draw. So there was a lot of work put into that as well.
We got to remember that this is
So just
also
an
a
interesting
time.
pro wrestling connection for that.
Oh, oh yeah, but this is also a time where they were really giving Bendis the keys to the castle. Like he was just kind of firing on all
Yes.
cylinders, and they'll give me like, you want to write this, or you want to write this.
Yeah.
I still remember Bendis is coming, DC, and I don't think he's
I was
ever.
just thinking about it. I have a love hate relationship with what this is because it means that we're going to pedestal Bendis, and now they're going to make decisions with Bendis that I'm going to regret.
Yeah, yeah. It's just so funny because now, comic book clicks coming on 10 years next year, and now you can see the cyclical nature of this stuff, right? Where they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, Scott Snyder, would you like to write everything? By the way, would you like to write everything?" Jonathan Hickman, are you busy? Would you like to write everything? They see a bit of success with some of these writers, and they literally just bankroll
Yeah.
or put up the bank truck to their houses,
But
get them
it's
to
kind
write
of
stuff.
constantly like it's constantly like those Job scenes in Arrested Development where they always just end up going, "I made a huge mistake."
Yes, yes, 100%. But our story doesn't even start off in the present. In the far off year of 690 AD, the
Oh,
dark
jeez.
sorceress Morgan Le Fay peers into the waters of Avalon, searching for the man who betrayed her former lover and apprentice, Victor Von Doom.
Not
Oh,
played by Elizabeth Hurley, but I'm going to imagine it anyway.
it just helps, bro. It just helps. It helps with the whole visual.
Thank you for that, Runaways.
Also, didn't realize. I think this is the story I've read her in. I don't think I've read her in other stories before. And although she's a very prominent magic user in Marvel, not only was she in Runaways, but she's in Midnight Suns, isn't she? The game.
Uh,
So she was
I
like
think
the
she's
witch or whatever.
I don't think she's a playable character in the game, but I think you come across her.
Yeah,
You might come across her.
yeah. Oh, Morgan Le Fay. Um,
Yeah.
but what she sees isn't the past; it's Doom in the future, seated at the first gathering of the Cabal. We flash forward to the present. Norman Osborn, once the head of the Thunderbolts Initiative, has now been promoted to Director of National Security. His first move, dismantles S.H.I.E.L.D. entirely, replacing it with the new organization Hammer. He appoints Victoria Hand, an ex-S.H.I.E.L.D. accountant, critical of Nick Fury's methods, as his deputy, while swiftly firing Maria Hill, blaming her
Mm-hmm.
and S.H.I.E.L.D. for their failure to prevent the recent Skrull invasion. I love Maria Hill's reaction, which is like, yeah, this is all gonna screw it. I'll leave. I'll go. But all of this is gonna come crashing down, and I just can't wait till it happens. And
Yep.
it's like she's looking at a mentally ill man right now. Like she's looking in the eyes of a man that she knows can't handle half of this.
I want to say that my favorite detail of this entire thing, which I feel like is a joke, like people always like have about these names, is that uh, Norman has no idea what Norman and Hammer doesn't mean anything.
Right,
He's
right,
like,
right.
figure out what it means,
Yeah, yeah, yes, yes,
but
yes.
call it Hammer.
That's like her first directive. By the way, make up something for Hammer. Yeah, that was really,
Like,
really funny. And then yeah, like this is again
like,
sometimes
you mean
our
Hammer
imitating.
doesn't mean anything? Like, no, just put words together.
We have this art imitating life moment, not to get too in the weeds, but a powerful man taking charge and basically getting rid of everyone who's ever opposed him, or and
What? Comics are political.
and bringing in people that have always grinded an axe against his enemies.
Yeah,
Um, so I didn't know this that he was running the Thunderbolts Initiative. So yeah, he just goes to Thunderbolts Tower and recruits. He was
yeah.
already running Thunderbolts Initiative. Just
Okay, and also bringing in people who are how do you say who are not fit for the job but are loyal to you,
yeah, which reminds me of that whole like
Linda.
It reminds me of that. Oh, terrible! It reminds me of that whole vigilante task force stuff, right? Like those
Yes.
guys weren't the best of the best of the field, but they listened to Fisk. So what does it matter?
Right.
Kind of stuff. Um, he then orders Bullseye to pack his
Intelligent.
bags. He orders Bullseye to pack his bags. He's coming to New York to play the part of Hawkeye on Osborn's newly minted team of Avengers. By,
Okay.
by seizing control of what was once S.H.I.E.L.D., Osborn also inherits command over the Avengers and the iconic Avengers Tower. I love the little scuttlebutt about that, about like, oh no, Tony doesn't own it anymore. Like it's all this weird logistical bureaucrat red tape stuff now.
Yeah.
Where like they
Yeah.
walk in on Miss Marvel and she's like, what do you mean? I don't like what, you own this building? Where am I supposed to
It's like, well,
live?
Tony became a Shield guy, and so started using Shield money, and since it's Shield money, it's Shield property.
Yep, and now that's all hammer. He confronts the field leader, Miss Marvel, who refuses to accept her resignation. No, she was trying to resign, and he refused to accept her resignation and threatened her with arrest if she doesn't report for duty.
Yeah.
When she tells him no Avenger would serve under him, Osborn casually reveals he's already signed Ares and the Sentry. That was so disheartening. She's like, "No one will ever join you," and he's like, just points behind him.
I got the two biggest ones,
strongest, like literal gods,
God
are
damn it.
standing right there. Miss Marvel's. Go ahead.
Admission of ignorance. I've never heard of Ares.
I know of him because of this story, and I know of him because of what happens to him in Siege. Very popular. Him and Sentry have a very memorable moment in that story.
You know, I don't remember that. And again, I'm pretty sure I read Siege, but like I read it so long ago.
Yeah, it's the accordion moment.
I see.
It's the yeah. So I know him from that, and I know him. I know at one
Here's
point.
The thing, guys. When you read a lot of comics, things get lost in that brain soup.
Totally. And I think at one point, Frank is the god of war. I think at one point they just
I get it, but oh god.
Yeah, and you know how they have like that skull on. He's just wearing like a metal. I don't know, a metal wife beater with like a skull on it. Whatever. They just put the Punisher skull, and it's that.
Of course.
But yeah, I don't know much about him.
War Machine.
Ares is.
You remember when they gave
Greek?
Frank a War Machine armor?
Yeah, I actually have it in the. I just got it at a comic shop for like $3 for the volume.
Nice.
But Ares that's Greek mythology, right? Sounds right. Because I guess all that stuff is up for grabs. Same way Thor was. All mythology.
Yeah, because it's all open source, like old mythology. Like nobody owns it because whoever owned it in the negative 800s is long dead.
Exactly. Yeah, no one's the Ares estate is not coming to argue about about IP. But Miss Marvel,
isn't there a rule anyway that like I don't know, I guess I don't know if rule is the right word for it, but like there's sort of a mandate at this point that nothing gets to stay owned.
Yeah, it's like a perpetuity. It's like it's not in perpetuity. It's like 100 years or something like that.
Yeah, that's why like you've got the thing now where the like Steamboat Mickey is now open source.
Yep. They're supposedly the very first editions of Batman and Superman are next.
Yeah.
The very first, so like the dude with the gloves,
only
the Batman with the gloves and stuff.
Yeah, only the rendition of Superman that existed in those first issues can be used.
Yeah, and that's why I don't know if you heard this, but it was such a big deal that Ryan Coogler had it in his contract for Sinners that he owns all the IP after 25 years.
Yes,
which is tremendous because studios would just hold that shit down. Yeah, thank you for making it. We'll be pumping out sequels and franchises for the next 50 years. You're just gonna have to deal with it.
I remember talking about it because it's basically just like you can do in 25 years. Ryan Coogler can do like the Taylor Swift thing where we do the big re-release and like it's all that money is mine
Ryan's
now.
version.
Yeah,
Sinners, Ryan's version. Ridiculous. Oh, capitalism. But Ms. Marvel ends up storming off, disgusted, especially after Ares scolds her for putting ego over national security. To replace her, Osborn types Thunderbolt veteran. Yep, Moonstone as his new Miss Marvel and slots in former teammate Venom as his Spider-Man. With Ares and Victoria Hand by his side, Osborn heads to New Orleans to recruit Daken, son of Wolverine, to assume his father's mantle. And then it's off to the Cube, the now defunct super prison, where he recruits Novar to serve as his Captain Marvel. So Novar and Daken are my dark spot.
I'm aware of Dakin, but like I don't know anything about him. I just know Logan's son.
Yeah, I know he doesn't like him. I know they try to. I think he tried to kill him several times. And in this, it's
Yeah.
like, hey, do you want to piss off your dad or whatever? Like that's one of the things they sell him to, like get him on board.
I
So
think I met Novar when I did all of the like the DNA Cosmic Marvel stuff.
okay, was he
Uh,
in like Annihilation stuff like that?
I think so. I might have to look that up, but I think so. I think I crossed paths at Novar when I did all the Guardians of the Galaxy reads and Annihilation and all that craziness that happened.
There's one of these on the Young Avengers, isn't there? Is it Marvel Boy or something?
Maybe that's where I know him from.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I know there was somebody who looks very similar to him in Young Avengers. Somebody's yelling at us right now, the true answer, but if you guys
Yeah.
know, just
Once again, yeah,
chime in.
I read Young Avengers really early into my comic book run, so like that's gonna be a hard memory to pull up.
Yeah, and I've been researching and writing and reading more than I ever have, so I can't tell you that, but I can tell you that on this day, Marvel created adamantium in the comics. There's a nice fun fact that has nothing to do about anything except for Dakin. Uh, the thing is, even with this team of criminals that turned hero,
Mm,
there's still something missing. And Ares points out the obvious. Osborn has no Iron Man or Captain America. Can't sell an
yes.
Avengers lineup without Icon. So, with the help of the ghostly saboteur, Ghost, which again, Ghost pops up in this, and I'm like, come on, come on, man. I was looking for a new Avengers, hook up like straight from that movie, and now we got Ghost. Ghost never does a random cameo in anything I ever read, but he's in this because, again, it was just fate to read this story next. So Ghost shows up and basically is able to break into Tony Stark's armory, and he steals an Iron Man suit for Norman. Norman repaints it in red, white, and blue, using Iron Man's tech with Captain America's symbolism. Dons the armor himself and introduces the world to the Iron Patriot. New Avengers are revealed at a press conference, met with public applause.
Mm.
But like, we're starting this story, and you're supposed to be paying a veteran comic book readers, you're paying attention for red flags. And I think the first red flag is, oh, those two like really strong personalities. I'll play both of them. I will be both the Captain America and the Iron Man of this team. Okay,
Yeah.
bro. Yeah, no issues there, no problems there. Were you surprised that people kind of took to this as quickly as they did?
No.
Like the public? No, no.
No. No. Maybe a decade ago I might have been,
Fair,
but
fair,
no.
fair. And it's all perception. People believe that Norman Osborn stopped the Skrull invasion.
Yeah.
So why would they second guess a team that he's created to help save the world? If there was any way for Valentina to take credit for the destruction of Thanos, they would have signed off on her any team that she would have made, on the spot.
Yeah.
So I think it's funny how that works. Um, back on the promise he made during the Cabal's first meeting, Osborn arranges for Doctor Doom to return to Latveria, but as Doom's hammer escort touches down on the ruins of Castle Doom, Morgan Le Fay strikes. You see, 37 years ago, a young Victor Von Doom. Oh no, we then see 37 years ago, a young Victor Von Doom is sleeping in bed. Morgan, still fixated on revenge, finds him and is ready to kill him in his sleep. But at the last second, she hesitates, as killing him in his sleep before he even understands why isn't satisfying. So she vanishes just as young Victor awakens. None of that surprises me that Victor has some all-powerful being that wants revenge and is willing to kill him in his sleep. Like, all that's just, again, it's a Tuesday. So
Victor
none.
screwed somebody. No.
They don't even really get into specifics with what actually happened. We just, Doom's the piece of trash, and so he's done something to hurt this woman, and you don't question anything else past that.
Mm-hmm.
We see Osborn give a rousing speech to his Hammer forces and watch footage of his new Avengers debut. But halfway across the world, Morgan's magical onslaught overwhelms Doom. His terrified escorts call for help, and Osborn answers, suiting up with his team and racing to Latveria. They arrive just in time as Morgan prepares to deliver the killing blow. Uh, oh yeah, this is the scene where they basically set up, and she has horde after horde of monster. They're all like
Mm-hmm.
trying to fight her. Nothing is working, and then Osborn's like, Bob, and he's like, yeah. He's like, do whatever you gotta do. Don't hold back. And in a blink of an eye, he rushes to Morgan Le Fay and decapitates her.
Just removes her head from the rest of her body.
Just decapitates her. And then is like, did I do it right? Did I do good? And I'm like, this is not this is not the team you want. That was his first thought. That was his first thought, was to decapitate her. Not like restrain her so other people can get her, or like set up for like a team move. No, I got this. I've removed her head. It's all over. But there's
And
this
then
simpleness to Bob that's
immediately
scary.
requires emotional validation.
Yeah, that's the That's the scariest part about all this, is that he's so emotionally fragile. He needs to be told at all points that what he's doing is right, and it's Norman telling him. You know that it's not in his best interest. You know it's none of that's going to go in a great direction. Um, but yeah, even though she's decapitated, victory, however, is short lived. Morgan reappears, revealing that she exists across time. Killing her in the present means nothing. She can always just return from the past.
Wibbly
Ares,
wobbly, timey wimey.
yeah, what's funny? I read this story and I don't remember this plot point, and when I reread it, it made it hilarious. Like they beat her, but like she'll just come back, and if they beat her again, she could just come. Ridiculous. Ares tries to reason with her as a fellow god, but she mocks his estrangement from Olympus. She then enchants Venom, turning him on his teammates, and summons an army of demons. A few days earlier, we find out that Osborn visited Sentry in his room atop Avengers Tower. Knowing how fragile Bob
This
Reynolds
scene doesn't
is,
look familiar at all.
bro, that's what I'm saying. I'm sitting here like, if it wasn't like 4 pages, I would have posted it. I thought it was like so cool. But it's
You
just,
magnificent bastard, I read your book.
yeah, it's just Norman sitting there, um, stroking Bob's ego,
He is
gaslighting him.
he is playing this boy so masterfully.
Yeah. The only other time I had this feeling is when Fisk uh motivated Dex, born again. Like it's
Mm.
obvious that Nuke is it wasn't Dex, it was Nuke. So it's like obvious that Nuke has a screw loose, and Fisk is just
Okay.
like telling it like, they don't respect you. They don't respect none of the veterans. You understand? I want to bring our boys back, but why don't they want to bring our boys back? And it's just Nuke, just like, like being ready to get let off on a leash, and you just know this
You
person isn't
killed
in
them.
their right.
They disrespected you.
Yeah,
They threw you away.
100%. And this had happened similarly with Fisk and Dex in the show, but seeing it happen here and realizing like, is this hubris or this balls by Osborn? Does he think he's untouchable, or does he know he can put this beast to heel, basically?
I think Oswald just believes he can control and manipulate the situation. I think there's this idea that like probably like his relationship with his actual son, that if he can apply some emotional tether, he will remain how do you say, immune to any sort of physical retaliation.
Yeah, that makes sense. I also wonder how much of this is Norman kind of talking to himself, right? Because he knows what it's like to have an entity inside of him that he's trying to.
So that there's a point later in this book where I thought it was interesting that I think it harkens back to this scene to where I'm wondering like how earnest is Norman being
Right.
about what he's saying to like I know I know it's self-serving, but at the same time, some of it feels true.
Yeah, yeah,
Some of it feels like on it's like he's being somewhat honest with Sentry for a selfish reason
yes,
and for
yeah,
an ulterior motive, but at the same time, the things he's saying are real.
right. But it just felt creepy when he's doing this whole like, like he like basically is like, yeah, I had, he's like, I'm the guy who I'm Green Goblin. He's like, no, you're not. He's like, bro, I totally was.
Yeah,
I used to beat up Spider Man all the time, man, and
and he's
those
like,
days are behind me.
you?
Yeah, like those days are behind me, bro. But I just want you to know that like none of that's real. The void isn't real. Not that he can't control it. The void
Yeah,
isn't real. What do you think about that level? That strategy, I guess.
I thought it was interesting. Like the idea of um, it's a very real, it's a very real idea about like taking hold of something about. I'm sorry, I'm messing with my words here. The idea of sort of taking hold of the thing by owning it instead of running from it.
Yeah,
So it's like no, like you are the void. You're also the Sentry. Like it's all the same thing. It's just you, dog.
yeah. Do you think he
You
would have got
know?
further with acknowledging that instead of trying to
Yeah,
ignore it?
yeah. That's the idea. It's sort of the same place. Hulk ends up in the MCU, right?
That's fair.
Instead of running away from the entity, he just leans into it, and it becomes something different.
Makes sense. I can dig that. Um, yeah, he tells Sentry that the void isn't real. It's just a twisted projection of his lost humanity. Sentry,
Hmm.
moved by Osborn's words, agrees to serve under him. Unbeknownst to them, Morgan watches from the shadows, having returned to her own time after being killed by the Sentry in the future. She now seeks to learn all she can about these so-called heroes who came to Doom's defense. Back in the present, the Avengers are barely holding the line. With Sentry gone and demons everywhere, Ares continues to plead with Morgan to stand down. Instead, she petrifies him literally, turning him into stone. She offers the remaining Avengers the choice between surrender or servitude, but before anyone can respond, Bullseye puts an arrow through her skull. Then again, it's only a temporary victory because she returns yet again and seizes control of Venom. Osborn manages to wake up Doom, who urges him to run. Doom's armor is frozen by magic, he can't fight. But Osborn
Hmm.
refuses to leave him behind. He drags Doom away from the battlefield and convinces him to give up access to his armor so they can activate Doom's time platform. Plan, go back and stop Morrigan before her revenge ever begins. With no other options, Doom agrees. They arrive moments before Morgan first set out on her path of vengeance, and in that moment, Doom stands tall and declares, "No one raises a hand against me." I love the petty squabble between Doom and Norman here.
Yeah.
He's like, "Let me in." He's like, "You better not betray me, Osborn, you son of a bitch." But yeah, like they know what this life is, and they know, how these relationships end, and just
Yeah.
his reluctance to, um,
And I think Doom's just mad that he's vulnerable.
yeah, that's it. It's just a reluctance to accept help, even at this moment where you're frozen in your armor. But it's also because he knows that Norman will never stop lording this over him. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. And then I had to save your butt back there, so Uh, but back on Latveria, on the ruined grounds of Castle Doom, Morgan Le Fay and her demon horde are still locked in battle with the Dark Avengers. Venom is completely out of control, attacking Hawkeye under the magical influence of Morgan. Hawkeye couldn't care less whether it's mind control or not. He swears he'll kill Venom someday. Meanwhile, Miss Marvel charges straight at Morgan. The sorceress swings her blade, but Carol goes intangible and counters with a photonic blast, knocks
Hmm.
Morgan right off her demon dragon. We go back to 6090 AD inside Morgan's castle. This version of Morgan faces off against both the Iron Patriot and Doctor Doom. She mocks Osborn for trusting Doom, warning that betrayal is inevitable. Osborn shrugs it off. That's exactly why he suited up.
Yeah.
Morgan launches a spell at them, but the iron in their armor renders it useless. Doom begins casting a spell of his own, but Morgan warns him if he kills her, he risks unraveling time itself. Doom responds by invoking a spell in a language she's never heard and banishes her into her own cauldron. She reemerges in prehistoric England in 1 million BC, far
Yeah.
removed from their time and power. That's a pretty big FU from Doctor Doom there. I thought she just went to the Savage Lands until I read the little
And one
blurb
million
thing.
BC.
Yeah. Because there's Avengers back there, aren't there? 100
Technically,
million
yes.
BC Avengers, whatever they called that. Um, so Osborn, amused that they're in King Arthur's era, jokes about rewriting history. Doom isn't laughing. He activates the time slide tech and takes them back to the exact moment they left, warning Osborn that if he's lucky to already be in power, or warning Osborn that he's lucky to already be in power. Back in the present, Doom revives Ares, who was never fully petrified, likely because Morgan feared divine retribution. With the Sentry still presumed dead, the rest of the Avengers return to New York. Venom tries to apologize to Hawkeye, but gets only a death threat in return. Doom quietly uses his time cube to restore his castle. This is like another one of my favorite moments because they're like, fuck, Sentry's gone. Damn, he's gone. What are we gonna do? I don't know. And they're like flying back to their castle. The Quinjet lands in New York. Miss Marvel gets to know Novar, showing him the Moonstone she now carries. Elsewhere, Victoria Hand informs Osborn that Clint Barton has gone public, accusing Osborn of using supervillains as government agents. Osborn tells her to schedule an interview to set the record straight. Before he can prepare, a blinding light appears over Avengers Tower. The Sentry is alive, and his return sends shockwaves through the team. But mostly he just does a staring contest with Osborn, who thought he was dead. And now's the time to talk about it. How do you feel about reading all these stories and the basic protagonist is Tommy Lee Jones? How are you feeling about? How you feel about
does look like Tommy Lee Jones, and like I struggled with it because for obvious reasons the voice in my head is Willem Dafoe.
Yes,
but I see Tommy Lee Jones' face,
and it's also Tommy Lee Jones with waves. So it's a whole. My mind's doing a bunch of different things. But apparently the artist, that was his full intention. He 100% intended to do Tommy Lee Jones as Norman Osborn. At one point, you just see one of those that Tommy Lee Jones ear. It's a very distinctive ear, and I'm like, yeah, it's not even like a kind of modeled after him. This is basically him.
I didn't even notice the ear, but I think I noticed it in all those when there's two things where it's very apparent to me because they have to do a lot of close up facial expressions. It's in the interview and it's in the talk with Sentry.
Yeah. Yep, he's basically just talking to Agent K in that moment. So later, Osborn appears on national television to deny Barton's accusations. Calm and collected, he paints himself as a reformed man. His Green Goblin persona, a product of a chemical imbalance, long since corrected. Is this the moment you're talking about where you feel like half of what he's saying is true and half of what he's saying is not? Or is this all just propaganda?
No, well, yeah, this is part of it, but I mostly mean, um, when I say half of what he's saying is true, half not. It's like the Sentry discussion.
Yeah.
Where like he's sort of being very candid about his real struggles with the Green Goblin side of him, but like it's nefarious. It's still nefarious conversation.
Yeah. In this, I thought it was interesting that he turned it around and was like, Clint Barton was a criminal that turned into an Avenger. So why is he having an issue with criminals turning into Avengers? And I'm like, that's a pretty rough mood. I'm not pro Osborn in this moment, but that's pretty damn good. Do you think Clint Barton would object to the Avengers as they stand in the MCU currently, New Avengers? What's his relationship to Bucky?
Yeah, I'm wondering that.
They're on the same team at one point, right?
Because I had a whole conversation about the other day about like who actually knows who Yelena is, and it turns out it's only like two people.
It would be Clint and that's it. Clint and Valentina. Like what? Who are the OG Avengers would have known? It's Clint, right?
Sam out of all of them, only Clint. I think only Clint knows that like this is.
I don't know how Pillow Talk was with Banner. Maybe there's something there. Um, but yeah, I wonder. Like, I want Sam can't be the only Avenger, OG Avenger, that has an issue with this. Is I guess is what I'm getting at, and I'm trying to see. Their only shining light is Bucky, who's been around. I guess everyone's kind of okay with
Yeah.
him, but not everyone
Can I can
totally
I can I
is.
present a mild theory about what the breakup is about?
Sure.
Uh, I don't remember how I got here, but when I was thinking about it, it came to the I came to a conclusion that the Avengers that Bucky is leading, I'm
Mm-hmm.
assuming Bucky is leading them because who the heck else is gonna wrangle these people together?
Right.
The Avengers that Bucky seems to be leading is like the very thing. Even though they technically have her even though they technically have her locked up, uh, the Avengers that Bucky is leading is the very thing that Steve was fighting against, and that Sam got locked up for helping him with,
You're right.
because they are essentially a government-run Avengers team.
And Bucky never does time for that. He
No, he
just
does
goes to
not.
Wakanda.
Yeah, he gets
right,
he gets to run away to Wakanda,
right,
but
right.
like we helped you because we were fighting the Accords.
Right.
I got locked up to help you get away, and now you're doing the government Avengers thing.
Yeah, and I think Bucky would say the Shadowlands line, right? Well, I'm helping it from within.
Yeah,
You know, like if it's not me, it's gonna be
and I
somebody
didn't
else
even
way
want to be here.
worse.
I walked through a door and it was like the Avengers. I was just like, crap.
Yeah, yeah, that's so interesting. What's funny is that he ends up pinning more infamous Goblin crimes on Green Goblin copycats. It was like several other
Okay.
people wore the Green Goblin mask. As a matter of fact, there was one time where Green Goblin attacked me.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, bro. I wouldn't be surprised if he did did that one time, like how Bruce Wayne does it sometimes. Batman will show up in the same room as him
Yeah.
just to kind of like quell suspicion. But yeah,
I like the version on the Supergirl show where it's like it's just Manhunter.
yeah, and he's all his mannerisms are like very stoic.
I
They're,
am Supergirl.
yeah, he's not a very good Kara. So rather than strike back at Clint, he pivots to compassion, suggesting that Barton is simply clinging to the failure of the old Avengers.
Hmm.
But rewind 6 hours. The Sentry has returned. Let's go back to that. Confused and unstable.
Yes.
Osborn talks him down, reminding him that the void does not exist. And he grounds him by mentioning his wife, Lindy. It works for now. Back at
What
Avengers
is up with
Tower,
that?
the wife?
Yes.
I don't know, but she does not seem very happy where she is.
No. That's just not.
Yeah, it doesn't scream confidence or love. Um,
That's just weird.
yeah, I don't remember. I remember hearing a little bit about his wife. I feel like he kicks a dog in that in that OG Sentry comic. But I remember it dealing with his origin, but I don't necessarily remember too much about his wife.
Okay.
Back at Avengers Tower, the team is lounging in the common area when Victoria Hand arrives to distribute their meds. Venom tells her that Bullseye threatened to kill him after the Morgan Le Fay incident. Start to argue until Ares steps in, warning them to act like warriors, not children. And then he
Hmm.
just open hand slaps Bullseye in the face. Just for being a shit stir. He just openly hand slaps Bullseye in the face and tells him that this is his one shot to be the man he always pretended to be. Bullseye grits his teeth and takes his med.
My favorite part about it is like, if you hit me, like, no, I slapped you. If I hit you, it's
Yeah,
dead.
yeah, yeah. Um, and Venom keeps like kind of telling, like he keeps trying to say he's gonna kill me. Like he's like a little child telling the teacher. Later that evening, Ares returns to his Bronx apartment, EX, only to find his son Alexander missing and a stack of truancy notes. Meanwhile, Moonstone seduces Novar. Afterwards, she casually mentions that their new Avengers team is full of psychotic criminals. Novar, completely unaware of their histories, is stunned And before he can process it, the news cuts in. An Atlantean terror cell has attacked Los Angeles. The damn Atlantean. But yeah, like she totally just like Pillow talks about their criminal backgrounds, and Novar's like, what?
Like, wait, you didn't know? Like,
Why? And he disappears and he doesn't come back, right? At least not in
no,
this part that we read.
no, he will not be back for the rest of this volume.
That's very interesting. So the next day, Osborn convenes the Cabal at Avengers Tower, because that's what you do. You convene your Cabal of evil supervillains at Avengers Tower. He declares the attack an act of war, the Atlantean attack, and demands Namor denounce the terrorists publicly before sending in a kill squad to wipe them out, leaving one alive as a warning. And he just says that casually. Like, kill them all but one, and we'll drag him through the streets or some shit like that. I'm like, golly.
Yes. Because New York City is currently being decimated by some Atlanteans.
Yes. Namor refuses, scoffing at Osborn's authority. He reminds him that the Atlanteans allow humans to share Earth, and the only reason the coasts aren't underwater right now is because he's shown restraint. Osborn storms off, and Loki grins to her too. This is like almost the beginning. Okay, maybe I guess this is the question I want to ask.
Wait, I need to talk about this one. God, you made it worse by making it clear to me that it's Tommy Lee Jones. We need to talk about this one panel right here.
Oh yeah, there
what are you doing?
Hey, I'm Tommy Lee Jones. I'm Tommy Lee Jones.
You have no kingdom.
I was originally gonna say that this is the beginning of the signs that Norman may not have it all under control, because he tries to machismo his way into getting Namor to do what he wants, and he doesn't. But is this the beginning of it, or has he never had control throughout this story? Now that you think about it,
I don't think he's ever fully had control. I think the outbursts are what they are. Like, he gets angry and then he pulls it back a little.
Yeah. It's all a facade.
Yeah, there are some parallels to how they attempted to play this in Brave New World.
Yeah.
He gets angry, pulls it back a little.
Yeah. Or it starts smoking.
Yeah. And Namor is hilarious. He's also drawn with the most ridiculous facial expressions.
He is the epitome of the character. Like, when I think of the word like the gall or the audacity, it's usually Namor.
Gall.
He's always looking at everybody like, "How dare you talk to me? Like, why am I here? Who invited me here? What are we here to talk about?
Why did I agree to this?"
And then he's just like, "Oh, we're here to talk about my people. Okay, butt the hell out," and then he leaves. He doesn't, he doesn't give anybody the time of day. So yeah, that's already unraveling. So he's not being respected by his peers in that moment. In the Cabal, Norman is. The next morning, he enters the kitchen.
Wait, no. I'm sorry, hold on. Yeah, I want to stay here for a little bit because like this is how bad it is. where Namor sort of undermines the authority that Norman is trying to impress. And the idea that he just screams because I told you to, and then everyone just looks at him.
Yeah, because they're like 3, 2, 1. It's like, yeah, and then Namor's like, yeah, and Namor's like, yeah, screw you, bro. Everyone knew. Come on, man. Namor's the first. He's like the first mutant. Like, everyone knows you do not demand something of Namor. That's the one thing you don't do. You were better off trying to pretend to.
Like, you done fucked up.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, this entire team is a team of people with egos. No one would listen to direct demands. But I bet if he stroked his ego, if he said, "Oh, my liege, my Atlantean liege, if you could please," we would be in a better position here. But no, man.
My tribal chief.
100%. But they're doing a whole stick measuring contest here. And the Atlanteans are pretty large. But Osborn enters the kitchen and demands to know where Novar and the Sentry are. Sentry arrives, ready for orders. Victoria Hand pulls Osborn aside, urging him not to head to LA personally, pointing out his sleep deprivation and deteriorating.
I love the part where He's like, Ares is in the Bronx. Like, I want him living here at the mansion. He doesn't want to.
Yeah,
It's
what are
like,
you gonna
well,
do about
make
it?
him. Like, he is the god of war. How
Yeah,
do you expect me to enforce his living situation?
that's why. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is the issue that starts to really show you. Like, okay, so he doesn't have, bro, no idea what Novar is. Neymar's not listening to him. Can't get Ares to stay in the tower. Sentry is on and off depending on the day.
Yeah.
Fucking Moonstone's actively trying to like usurp him. Bullseye is attacking and threatening members to, and he's gonna kill them. And on occasion, Venom eats people. So there's none of this is going right. Um,
Not just people. Venom is eating high value prisoners.
yes, and so like what started off as like a tactful like we're gonna go in and we are going to do this like tactfully, and I'll be the head of this whole thing, like the I don't know what you want to call it, like the figurehead, like the mascot of this
Yeah.
mission, government sanctioned, all that kind of stuff by the book. And then when Victoria's like, yo, you need to sleep, like you've been bugging, he's like, fine. And then she's like, the Sentry could just do it all by himself. And he's like, huh. So he goes over to the Void and is like, yeah, go kill everyone except for one
Yeah.
person. And he does. Hot knife through butter. Just like a golden terrorist.
And there's such a swift moment where it's just like, I thought the Void didn't exist. Shut up.
Yeah. After all that talk. We're gonna need the Void. I think he's in the Void doesn't exist. He does now. Please bring him out. It's absolutely ridiculous. And again, like the sheer loss of life, the sheer loss of Atlantean life that exists here, but it's all just a political play. He can't be seen to look weak. And if they can save people on Earth, then they get more they earn more favor with the humans, right? If they're able to save more people on Earth. So.
That's been one of the more interesting things has been like Norman has played this entire thing like a giant public relations PR campaign the entire time. Like he sort of um he sort of which not rejects, but like he relents the fact that like, oh great, our first mission is helping Doom. Well, I guess we gotta do it.
Yeah.
You know, like the even what's happening with the Atlanteans. He's his comment is like, well, the Atlanteans are destroying LA, which personally I understand.
Right.
But because we are the Avengers, I can't let it happen.
100%. And as I said, like it's ego with him, and he's a head of a C. I mean, obviously he's the head of a CEO. He's a CEO of his own company, and I think he understands very much how much that Green Goblin stuff tanked Oscorp. Once it got linked to him, once that became a thing, and so he's very, very, very concentrated on their public image, um, as a team and as himself. Bad. Yeah, and as he starts to deteriorate mentally in this, he secludes himself more and more because it's all about appearance. It doesn't matter that that everything on the inside is put together with bubble gum and duct tape. But on the outside, the team looks like a functional team. And by Sentry completing this mission, even though nobody else was there, Osborn can say, like, you see how effective we are? Look at that. I got that whole thing, buttoned up real quick.
Yeah. It's like an Instagram relationship. It looks great on camera, but they fight.
Yeah. That's literally what it is. And so we have this situation here where they destroy that entire Atlantean terror cell, and they left one surviving Atlantean. And I'm thinking that they're gonna like put him in jail, put him on camera, we can like tell, like I don't know, speak to the mercy of the new Avengers or whatever like that. But they toss him to Venom, who eats him.
Yep.
That's just it. Open and shut case. No, Venom's happy. But Osborn is unraveling. Novar is missing. The president is calling, asking him to deal with the escalating mutant situation in San Francisco. Get to. Osborn stumbles into the armory, falling to his knees and insisting he's still in control. But the voice of the Green Goblin, smirking cruel, echoes in his mind, reminding him that he never left.
You and me, Norman.
That's basically what I heard there. And this is Norman at his most powerful and at his most political. Like he is at
Mm-hmm.
the top of the food chain right now. The actual president is calling him for help, and
Yeah.
this is the worst time to be having one of these, identity crises.
Yeah.
But
Mind break.
we're gonna take a little detour into X-Men land for a little bit. Because we
That's
have
what we
to,
needed.
because that's what happens. Because two parts of this are in the X-Men Utopia crossover series, where I guess not only did Norman kind of plant his own members in the Avengers, but he's also planted members in the X-Men. He is, like, I want to say under the control of, but he's working alongside of Dakin, who's Wolverine on the X-Men currently, Emma Frost, who's on the Cabal, stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
so the Omega Machine, which is the invention of Dark Beast. Again, I have no real background on that. He was just in this story.
Yeah.
Is slowly tearing Hank McCoy apart, draining his power and leaving him in constant agony. In the cell next door, Professor X tries to offer Hank words of comfort, urging him to hold on. Meanwhile, Norman Osborn is growing impatient. The machine was built to strip mutants of their power, not kill them outright, and he lets Dark Beast know it. Back in San Francisco, Emma Frost and the Dark X-Men wrap up the mutant riots and apprehend Hellion's squad. During the clash, Dakin nearly kills Avalanche, only for Emma to step in and shut him down, reminding the team that excessive force is off the table. Again, optics.
Mm-hmm.
While all the chaos unfolds, Cyclops meets Norman in secret. He demands that Osborn pull his forces out of San Francisco and take his war somewhere else. Osborn doesn't take the demand lightly and threatens to kill him because, that's what he does. The Dark X-Men return to base, where a still furious Emma insists on being shown around the facility to ensure that captured mutants are being treated humanely. As Osborn and Dark Beast give her the tour, Xavier reaches out to Emma telepathically, undetected. She searches for him, but finds his cell concealed behind a hologram, just an empty room. Still, their link is
Hmm.
strong, and Emma reassures Xavier that she has a plan. My favorite part about all of this is just like the very sitcom nature of him being like, "Oh, he's in that room right there. Oh, he is. Then open it." That kind of like sitcom like, "Oh, we have to hide the broken vase from mom" kind of situation here. It's like Emma's coming, we have to, show that all this is on the up and up. Um, you see that Norman he's flipped out on Namor, he's flipped out on Cyclops, but Emma scares him. Emma is somebody that he doesn't want to get on the bad side of. So respect Emma Frost. Tensions
I
rise.
think it's
Oh,
because like Emma. Yeah, I think it's the power play.
yeah.
Like it's not like Emma's gonna get into a fist fight with me. She's gonna get into my head, and my head is the last place I want anybody right now.
Especially someone with her power. No, 100%.
Yeah.
Tensions rise as the Dark Avengers and Dark X-Men begin to clash with one another. Meanwhile, in the shadows of the city, Simon Trask assembles a mob of human sentinel hybrids, all bent on wiping out all mutants, heroes and villains alike. This I remember from '97. Like, oh yeah, I remember the Trask hybrid sentinel.
Yes, that's right.
Elsewhere, Danny Moonstar makes a deal with Hela in Las Vegas. All signs point to her reclaiming her Valkyrie mantle, and with it, her sword and steed. Emma's squad takes down Trask and the Bio Sentinels, while back at Alcatraz, the Omega machine continues to ravage Beasts. But before Beast can find another victim, Magic and X-Force arrive and teleport their prisoners to safety, just as Mindy has warned would happen.
Hmm.
I think I may have missed an issue after this, but
Oh no, that's 7 and 8.
that is 7 and 8, right?
Yeah.
The X-Force goes toe-to-toe with Weapon Omega and Dark Beast, while Cyclops rallies the X-Men. Nightcrawler and Pixie begin teleporting their allies out of danger in groups, with Magic declaring it's time to go home. Final confrontation erupts between X-Force and the Dark X-Men, only for Emma and Namor to flip the script, revealing they've been loyal to Cyclops all along. They take down Daken and Mimic, while Cloak and Dagger escape with the good guys as Magic finishes the evacuation. The remaining Dark X-Men return to Osborn empty-handed, just as the X-Club ship rises triumphantly from the ocean. Cyclops addresses the world, making the X-Men stance clear. They're done hiding. They're done taking orders. Osborn responds in kind, rallying the Dark Avengers and remaining Dark X-Men. His orders are clear. Bring him Namor's head, Emma Frost's heart, and make sure Scott Summers sees it happen.
Yep.
He's made
Scott Summers Day.
Yes, he has made some very powerful enemies. But we are on the last issue that we're covering here today, issue 9, which is like fairly mundane in comparison to everything that's been going on. Like in the first issue, we behead a 1,000-year-old witch, you know. But in this one, it's kind of like it feels like a back to school special with Ares' kid. But at Avengers Tower, Victoria Hand tries to reach Osborn, informing him the Secretary of Defense is on the line. Osborn ignores the call. Victoria lies, saying he's on a mission. When she leaves, Osborn quietly calls for backup.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the Bronx, Ares wakes his son Alexander, and over breakfast, they talk about Osborn and the recent events in San Francisco. Alexander questions his father's allegiance. Ares jokes darkly that if he thinks Osborn's a monster, he should meet his grandfather. Zeus.
I assume.
I think Ares and Zeus were brothers. That's not a thing. Poseidon and Zeus. Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus. It's all coming back to me.
Your theology on the Greek history is stroking the mind.
Yeah. Bro, that was my superheroes at one point. I'm like, this is kind of cool. Like, they're all brothers. They got superpowers and shit. Like, what's going on here? 3-headed dogs. This is really cool. Yeah, I got minotaurs and 3-headed dogs and shit. It's crazy.
Goddamn Cerberus.
Yeah. So, when asked how he knows working with a man is the right call, Ares slams his fist on the table and says, "You're late for school." As soon as Ares leaves, Alexander meets up with
responsible dad Ares.
As soon as Ares leaves, Alexander meets up with Daisy Johnson, aka Quake, who takes him to Fury's safe house, number 7. It's when I see Daisy, when I see Maria, I wondered like how much was it a bad decision to completely blow up Shield in like the 3rd year of this franchise? Quite strange, right? Because Shield is such a ongoing presence in these comics, especially in this era, because they represent the government in a lot of ways. And the government overreach was getting huge after 9/11, post 9/11.
Yes.
But like the idea that Maria Hill's dead in the MCU when I love Avengers Standoff is very strange. You know, like because she plays such a humongous role in that. And then everyone's always talking about whether or not we're going to see Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Quake in the MCU. And if we did, wouldn't she be in S.H.I.E.L.D.? There's no S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
That's Sword.
But there's always, but like the show implies that there's always some sort of like underlevel S.H.I.E.L.D. happening.
Yeah. So somebody got to tell Nick Fury because he's in space with his green wife.
Doing sword.
Yes. Putting the sword in the sheath. You know what I'm talking about. But
oh dear.
Unbeknownst to them, Ares is tailing them. Because he's been wondering why Alexander has been said he's not been going to school. Apparently, he's been hanging out with Nick Fury.
Quake. Oh yes.
Quake and Nick Fury, yeah.
Yes.
So Ares storms the base, knocking out Hellfire. Don't have any idea. No idea. John, I know you saw me and John were talking offline about the about Ironheart, and he was saying that he's not really interested in seeing it. And like I will always remind everyone what the gauge is as far as interest is, and the bottom of that gauge is always Hellstrom. That is the bottom of that gauge.
I do remember that show.
But no one talks about it. No one talks about Hellstrom.
I never watched it, but I remember it existing.
People have seen MODOK that haven't seen other MCU movies.
I saw MODOK.
That's what I'm saying. People have seen Hitmonkey. There's a bunch of like Gifted stuff like that, and then there's Hellstrom, which no one talks about.
Didn't you watch Pennyworth?
Oh, I did not watch
No,
You
so I
mean
feel like so
Pennyworth,
many
the
people.
origin of Batman's butler? Let's call
Yeah.
it by his full name. Pennyworth, the origin of Batman's butler. It's so hard, GT. We went to see Teen Titans Go to the Movies when they made a joke about giving Alfred his own project. We saw that
Yeah.
joke, we laughed at that joke, and then it just became a reality.
Yeah, I didn't help it at all.
And Bat Wheels. Bat Wheels is a cartoon about the car. They have a cartoon on Cartoon Network just about the Batmobile.
Do they
It's like,
really?
yeah, I think it's like on season 3 or something
Oh
like
my
that.
god.
They've done it all. They haven't given it the utility belt show yet. Close. So blah, 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 blah. He demands answers from Nick Fury about what his son is doing there. Fury explains he's training him, and the adults take a moment to talk. Ares confesses that he tried to raise Alexander better than his own father raised him, but now he's not so sure. Listening nearby, Alexander decides his own path, and Ares respects his choice. Before leaving, Fury orders the secret warriors to clear out. Osborn has psychics, and if they dig into Ares' mind, this place is compromised. Hellfire wakes up and earns Fury's praise for surviving a punch from the God of War. Fury warns Daisy to stay sharp, always keep his eyes in the back of her head, or her eyes on the back of her head. Back at Avengers Tower, the team has breakfast. Miss Marvel spots the Sentry flying towards his watchtower. Bullseye, ever the charmer, says Sentry is a ticking time bomb who might take them all out. Victoria tries to reassure them that everything is under control. What do you think of this, like, dare I say, chemistry between Bullseye and Miss Marvel here?
Yeah, that's uncomfortable.
Where he's all like, where she's like, "Oh, what are you gonna do next?" She's like, "What about you?" And he's like, "You won't be able to handle it," or whatever the fuck. And I'm like, "What is going on here?"
Nope, don't like it.
100%. I'm like, what is going on here? But also, like, it starts to be believed that she might be doing something nefarious because she had that conversation with Novar, and then Novar disappeared. And she's been kind of unreliable. So people are wondering if she has her own machinations.
Like she's planting seeds or something.
Yeah, or causing people to leave, or causing their numbers to dwindle on purpose. I like I said, the Starscream of it all. I like that little added layer. It's not only was this House of Cards kind of always doomed to fall, but like people are actively pulling cards out while he's not paying attention.
Yeah.
So
which all goes back to the first conversation. Like, so I'm the leader, right? It's like,
right, 100%. And I cannot overstate how better at this she would be than he is, because she has been a Thunderbolt for 10 years, so she knows how to wrangle and command criminals. And I think, similar to Maria Hill, she's just willing to step back and watch him kind of step in it, and then if he needs help, or if there are without him, he'll just rise to the occasion. But back inside the towers, things are anything but under control. Lindy, Sentry's wife, greets him by aiming an alien weapon in his face. She tells him she cannot live like this anymore. She pulls the trigger, blasting his face. And in the deepest chamber of Osborn's facility, a quiet beep signals the opening of his vault door, which he had been hiding in all this time like a damn child. So, hell of a cliffhanger there. Things are unraveling all over the place. The public still believes that the new Avengers are righteous and good, but you got to believe that all this is going to come to a heel soon. Osborn is completely outstretched in between just his own mental battles and then trying to run these new Avengers, trying to wrangle the new X-Men, trying to curtail all the stuff with the Cabal. This is a guy who obviously has just bitten off more than he can chew.
Yeah, this was a doomed idea from the start.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter how much PR they can do, because it doesn't seem like they're going to get out of this the same way that they came in. But we'll be actually covering the second half of this story next week as part of the Major Issues podcast. A good 1-2 punch. And then we are going to get into some stuff, because Superman is right around the corner. And
that's going to be fun.
and so is Fantastic. So we have those two things to look forward to. We're actually going to, oh, yes, we're going to tackle Avengers 1 through 9 here, and then we're just going to do a 4-issue run next week, doing
Which one is that?
Dark Avengers 9 through 12 next week.
No, well, Avengers 1 through 9.
Sorry, Dark Avengers 1 through 9, what we just did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then Dark Avengers 9 through 12, oh, not 9 through 12, but 10 through 12. And then Siege we'll be covering after this, which, if you guys don't know, is the story in which Norman Osborn declares war on the Earthbound Asgardians in Broxton, Mississippi, Broxton, Missouri, Michigan, something like that. But yes, very similar to what's going on in the current MCU. Asgard is destroyed and new Asgard exists floating over a small town. And
yes,
the Green
I
Goblin, yes, the Green Goblin just continues to prod Norman in one of those like, oh, they think you a joke, bro. They're like right over the city, man. They don't pay no taxes.
Pretty lady.
Yeah, Loki is a pretty lady. But it's all this like, yo, they think you a joke, bro. They just chilling over there, not doing nothing, not paying no taxes and all that kind of stuff. Like, you better go over there and handle that. They calling you pussy out there, Norman.
Nation in your sovereign nation.
Yeah, like he calling you pussy, bro. But yeah, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine if the Thunderbolts had both Bob and another like dissociative identity person leading the team. Like this is way too much. Yeah. I think the guys that we have can probably handle their stuff, but no, this other stuff is a bit crazy. This is all just ingredients to fall and fail, but I believe that there are several people who are invested in that failure. I think I am one of them. But was there anything that surprised you in this reread, first time reading of this story?
No surprises, at least not yet. I guess the closest thing is real surprise is like Family Man Ares.
Yeah, that is a bit surprising, and the fact that his son would be like a member of anything, like he's hanging out with the Secret Warriors.
Yeah.
My surprise, I think, I mean, I was surprised at how I guess I didn't realize before how much Miss Marvel was kind of doing things behind the scenes. But the biggest surprise comes to me of this whole like weird Stockholm syndrome thing with the wife. Because
I don't know what the hell is that.
Right, and there's a moment where they are where Norman's doing the interview. No, Norman's talking to Bob.
Yeah.
And she's in the background like crying. She's like pretending to sleep as they're having this whole conversation about the void and stuff, and she's like terrified and crying.
You can see like she doesn't like what's happening.
Not at all. And one of the very few things I remember about this story is that things are gonna escalate when it comes to her wife, because in this moment she presents herself to be a problem to the new Avengers.
Of course.
They may not like that very much. So we'll see.
And there are a bunch of murdering psychopaths.
But we'll catch up with these murdering psychopaths next week when we finish up that arc, and then we'll be taking on Siege. But I do wonder if they still have that on the table. It's so crazy that with the introduction of this new Avengers team, there's so much, there's so many stories on the table. But like, I can't help but think that we just are driving towards a reset.
Yeah, the fact that we are sort of trapped in this, like Doomsday Secret Wars cycle is like we have these ideas and these things set up, but at the same time, we're gonna spend a whole 2 years in this. It's an event comic, right?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
We're sort of trapped in the bubble of this event comic, and then we'll figure out what these stories are going to be going forward. And at the same time, they're already setting up things that are going to be happening. Like there's obviously a big X-Men move coming,
right?
And that's going to be that's gonna be something that involves Miss Marvel heavily,
Yeah.
and like she's setting the groundwork for what's going to happen, even though you know, she's clearly trying to set up a young Avengers, but she's gonna be trapped in a bunch of mutant shit.
Yeah. And I could like, they've kind of already set up this quasi civil war between her, Sam's team and Bucky's team,
Yes.
which like
Not
they
Civil
don't.
War 2,
Where do
no.
they have time for that? Where do they have time to squash that in Doomsday?
Right.
Very strange because we'll be getting the Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom in that. Um, and
And
yeah,
then
like,
there's a Spider-Man movie, which could.
oh yeah, wherever the hell he lands. But with Civil War 2, like it can come down simply to like um Valentina building an algorithm.
Yes.
It doesn't have to. We don't have to do the whole Ulysses thing, which always made me laugh again because it causes such a stink. And then he's like, "I'm above you guys. I'm just leaving to go be a
I'm
god
going
or
back to
something
my
like
home
that."
planet.
And then he just disappears, and everyone's like, "What did we learn?" And I was like, "War Machine's dead." I think War Machine was dead in that comic. Somebody
Yes.
died. Yeah, I was like, "Somebody's dead." Everyone's like, "Oh, everything went back to normal." No, he's gone. He's gone forever. And you got Miles traumatized because he dreamed that he killed Captain America.
Yeah. And then the only thing that ends up saving it is the idea that the book decides, well, Cap was, well, Captain America was in the background exploiting a situation the entire time.
Yes. And I love that in the comics, it's all like, "Tony, what the hell are you talking about? You were the one for the Registration Act." He's like, "Yes, I know, and I was wrong. That's why I can't afford to be wrong again. Please, for the love of God, listen to me. I was you, Carol. Don't do it. It's not worth it."
Restraint.
Yeah, yeah. So the idea that he learned from his lesson again, he's just like, "Please don't do it." But yeah, like, is it worth just kind of dangling multiversal Chris Evans if you're not gonna do that all out Secret Empire?
Yeah.
Like, I wonder how much they're just gonna like tangentially touch these greater stories without actually having the time to sit there and develop them.
That was one thing that I had a concern about, even though like we all had a lot of fun watching them pull out chairs and having whatever name on the chair, especially all the classic X-Men. Like, good God, we got James Marsden back.
Yeah, right.
James Marsden back, right? You know, we brought back Rebecca Maine and all the other original X-Men characters from that time. But every time you reveal a name and you reveal a new person, my brain starts going, there's only so much time.
That's why I was like, didn't you see the hidden Easter egg in Thunderbolts? Like, it's Songbird. And I'm like, "Wait, come on, like, hold on, like, we're doing a lot here, okay? I don't know, we have time for the Songbird reveal, okay? Like, the Fantastic Four are landing on this planet.
And
Holy
even then, I'm
hell!
just like, what does Songbird do?
And you also can't like introduce Songbird and be like, "Okay, what happened to the other 10 people you just introduced before this movie?" You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you introduce Namor, a new Black Panther, the entire Eternals. Star Fox is out there somewhere. The Black Knight's chilling with his sword. Supposedly he's chilling with Blade. Who knows where those guys are? Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Uh, no one even knows where Shang-Chi is. So it's like the idea of
He's
introducing
with the sorcerers.
him and Aquafina. They are hanging out with Is Aquafina gonna join the Avengers? Bro? Are you ready for Nora from Queens to join the Avengers?
Bitch.
They're just gonna give her all Rick Jones storylines because they hate Rick Jones, so that's what they're gonna do.
She's gonna do the what is it, the energy, the magic bow.
Yes. I also want to see Aquafina go to Wakanda. I'm just gonna leave that. I'm just gonna leave that. I'm just gonna leave that right there.
Just gonna dangle that
Just
thread.
dangle that. Just dangle. We don't do that here. Aquafina,
Oh my
we
god.
do not do that here.
Oh man, that's scary.
Holy hell.
Yeah, there's so much going on. Like I want to forgive it in a way because like this is them trying to build something new out of a broken Lego set.
Yeah. Even though they broke
So,
it a little bit,
well,
right?
some actors broke it.
And again, like, two things I'm going to say to kind of wrap this up. And one of them is completely out of left field because it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But
Okay.
I truly believe that all of the Snyder Bros will be like rewarded eventually, because I do believe that James Gunn is willing to do something like Kingdom Come or willing to do something like Crisis. And if he did, I do believe that he would bring those characters back because they are some of the most prominent ones. They're the only Justice League we've ever had. Good or bad or indifferent, they're literally the only Justice League we've ever had in live action. So I could see them going back and kind of doing that there. And like similarly,
Oh,
I you don't think so?
it's not. I don't remember. I think so. I'm just thinking. I don't think I want to watch Henry Cavill versus David Cornsweet.
Yeah. Well, they don't have to fight because Kingdom Come, there's no two Superman fights or
I
anything,
guess
right?
not.
But I mean, come on, he wouldn't jump. He wouldn't lose the opportunity to just be like, that was the failed wrong universe with Magog. He's not gonna skip past that. Um, and similarly, I feel like things are gonna be paid back off here with this. Like even though we have such a small window to, I mean, again, all this stuff that we have to sit here and try to tackle, they have to
Yeah.
find a way on the end. I guess maybe the reboot won't be as harsh coming out. You know, who knows? Or maybe all the Avengers die and the mutants are the only one left. They just tell mutant stories for 10 years. They got enough. Just
It
leave Dark
honestly,
Phoenix
like,
alone, please.
the way they were talking, it felt like there was. It felt like it was gonna be, you know, yeah. It felt like it was gonna be all X-Men when he was about how he has the 10-year plan.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess you just, yeah. It ends with, what about the Avengers? What Avengers? Dun, 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 dun. Robert Downey Jr. signature.
No,
Oh
yeah.
boy.
Uh,
Well,
it's tough, and I you wanna I wanna trust them, and I wanna believe that like what happened post Endgame was just a snafu and one we could not have prepared for.
yeah. Oh, that was the other point. Similarly, with the bringing back of the Snyder people eventually, if everything is copacetic, they're gonna bring back Majors. They're gonna bring back Majors. I really feel like
You
if
think
enough
so?
time, they brought back Gunn, and Gunn, they publicly fired. They were like, "Hey, we are cutting ties with this gentleman," and then
Sure.
they openly brought him back because seemingly, I mean, and he did what he did what he was in trouble for, which
Yeah.
was post all that weird cringy shit, and they ended up bringing him back. Um, if old girl dropped the charges, and if all that's copacetic, and if it takes another 5 years to have everyone forget, the pop, bro, the pop, it's just gonna happen again. It's gonna go back to formula, and
Goddamn Kang.
and Kang come back. Kang will be doing that thing. Speaking of which, now I think I swear I Sinners was probably supposed to be Majors and
Oh, Majors and Michael B. Jordan.
Majors and Michael B. Jordan. I'm almost that white tank top thing. That's all Majors. White tank top with a machine gun thing. That's all. That's all Jonathan Majors right there, bro.
I can see it.
But we gotta hope. We gotta hope for.
I wonder how Magazine Dreams is going to do.
It's out now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And I know he's doing the circuit. He had like a really somber interview where he was like, "Yeah, I wrote to Kevin Feige, and he's the guy who gave me this gig, and I just told him, hey, in case you need me, whatever, whatever." And they're like, did he respond? He was like, no, but that's not why I sent it. I just wanted him to know. And I was like, you will see. You will see.
Good luck with that, Johnny.
Robert Downey Jr.
It's a shame because I felt like Majors was a really powerful actor,
He was.
and it just feels like lost potential.
The craziest part was he was a powerful actor that wasn't known for much when he was around. Like he
Right.
had been known for Creed, and he did Lovecraft Country,
Lovecraft County.
Lovecraft County.
Yeah.
And not much else. So it felt like we discovered something. We felt like we discovered a man,
Right.
and we were gonna rock with him for 10 years and make this career. But Yeah,
So was Michael B. Jordan.
if that potential is still there, yeah, and then we kill him in the first. but, yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I meant Michael B. Jordan was like ready to ride with um I lost his name.
Creed,
Yeah, with you know
Killmonger.
no, the other actor that got in
Oh,
trouble.
Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, yeah. It looked like Jonathan Majors and Michael B. Jordan were ready to like make things forever.
Oh yeah. They did so well on that shoot that they were starting to
Like
come
they
together on
became
some stuff.
boys really quick, and they had other ideas. And like you said, Sinners was looked like it was meant to be him and Michael B. Jordan,
And
and
Ryan Coogler would have been totally down for that. Like
yeah,
like that's right up all three of their alleys. I think that would have been perfect because he did Creed too, right? Didn't Coogler do that, or did he step away at one point?
Coogler did Creed 1 and 2. Michael B. Jordan directed 3.
Okay. Now Coogler's put his stamp on Ironheart, so we'll be seeing how that does. It'll be coming out next month. But like I
I'm
said,
down with it. John is not.
I just I I don't have much invested, but I'm always here. I'm always ready for a good story. The saddest
Sure.
part about that, sort of the presentation so far is kind of what John said. Like I watched that most recent sneak peek and it did more to just be like, trust me, we're not replacing Tony Stark. Like she is not the next Iron Man. Trust me, she's not the ex. Like why are you babying these fans, man? Anyone who knows a damn knows she's not the next Iron Man. People hear Ironheart and all of a sudden they're like, oh my god, it woke, and it's like stop catering to those people. But I guess when those people are half the country, what do we do?
Yeah.
I don't know. Become Dark Avengers, maybe. But if you want to figure out what we're gonna do, you'll have to listen to the Major Issues podcast, which drops every single Thursday in audio form. But some people are currently watching us live on Facebook Live because we do Major Issues live once a week, usually on Tuesdays. But once a week, it gives you an opportunity to not only interact with us, but to get the podcast early in video form. We also post the Major Issues episodes on YouTube, but there's many ways you can find the Major Issues podcast. The first way, you can Google Major Issues Podcast and we're the first ones to pop up. Secondly, you can go to comicbookclick.com where all of our episodes, over 380 hours of content, currently exist over at comicbookclick.com alongside merchandise designed by me, articles, comic book news. We're having a lot of fun over there, so go ahead and check out all things over there at comicbookclick.com. We're all over social media, facebook.com/comicbookclick, Instagram at comicbookclick, and you can use that hashtag comicbookclick to talk about the newest, hottest, latest, and greatest things to come to comic books and comic book media. We're at Major Issue CBC on Twitter and also at Major Issue CBC on Twitch. Might start playing through Fallout. I just watched the show with absolutely no background, and now I'm ready to get out of my vault and see what the hell's going on outside. Yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I like it. So, but I have absolutely no context with actual Fallout, besides seeing like the imagery.
Oh yeah.
Guy with
Well, I
the thumbs
mean,
up.
if you start thinking, well, maybe I'll play this game, then you must have enjoyed it.
Yeah. I just like want to stay in the universe. This is just like the thing with Thunderbolts. Like I enjoy Thunderbolts. I just want to be in it a little bit longer. So this
I
reading
get
the
what you mean.
story kind of elongated that, and it's the same thing with Fallout. So yeah, follow me there at Major Issue CBC on Twitch to see what's going on over there. But yeah, man, we continue to push out content free of charge. We have Major Issues, which drops every week in both video and audio form and is a live stream. We have Major Previews, which drops every month, where we talk about we look through the solicitations and try to pick out some comics that you guys should be focused on. What hot issues are coming for the month. We have
and what they give away.
Yes, clear in the solicitations. Alex Garcia, aka the Comic OG, has a weekly series where he shows you the books that he's picking up each and every week. We have video series called 5 Fast Facts that we do, where we give you some quick facts on some characters that are in the zeitgeist, whether they have just appeared in a film, just appeared in or have a new spotlight in comics, or are making a live action debut of sorts. We have 5 Fast Facts for that. Major Issues clips come out every so often. We got so much content that we're putting out, guys. We're growing exponentially. Our numbers have never looked better, but it's because of you guys liking, sharing, subscribing, supporting, telling a friend to tell a friend. Word of mouth is how all this works. So yeah, tell if you guys want to support us, there's many ways you can do it. Give us money. We're going to patreon.com/CBC Clubhouse, and for as little as 10 cents a day, $3 a month, you can help us afford the hardware and the software we need to keep providing you guys content like all the stuff I just said, free of charge. If you want, you can go to our T Public store and buy some merchandise designed by me, and we get a kickback for everything sold. We have some brand new Thunderbolts merchandise. We have the West Chesapeake Valley Thunderbolts shirt. So join the soccer team where that girl pooped on the field. And we also have a Red Guardian limo service, saving you from a boring evening T-shirt that you guys could end up rocking over there. And you can get those designs on pillows, phone cases, laptop cases, and more. So check out that stuff over there. We get a kickback from all that. But if you ain't got no money, times is hard. I ain't mad at you. But do me a favor, rate and review this podcast on iTunes. It's the quickest way for us to grow as podcasters and find out what you like and what you don't. It helps other people find this podcast, and the more people find us, the more they stay with us. Because this is the latest and greatest thing to come to comic and media, and I've been to the future where we do that. It can't mess up the timeline, so I can't tell you exactly how it happens. But I know that the guys at Dirt Sheet Radio are also there with us at the mountaintop, the industry leaders in all things professional wrestling and pop culture, coming off the month-long hangover that was WrestleMania season. and getting ready for the month-long hangover that is All Out season.
No.
But those guys work tirelessly. I know you guys run a tight ship, constantly doing content, constantly doing post-show reviews and recaps. I always say turn on the Dirt Sheet Radio. There's always something playing. So go and check out those guys over there. They're at comicbookclick.com or dirtsheetradio.com. And you can check out what they're doing there. There's also a link to all their links in the show description of this episode. So yeah, check out the guys there. I think I did all my plugs. Do you want the people to find you, GT?
Not at the moment. No, I'm good over here, staying inside the pod.
Hey, that's it. That's it. Hey, you know where you find GT. GT is on Dirt Sheet Radio once a week, their flagship show. And on occasion comes through Comic Book Click, gang, and we do this thing here. And you know he's gonna be on for Superman. You know he's gonna be on for Superman.
Geez,
if it's a Superman project, we've done 380 episodes. If you look back and there's a Superman project, odds are GT and me and chatting about it. And if there's a Cat project, especially a bad 1991 one, there's usually me and GT chopping it up about it.
So. I'm still trying to get the day off so I can actually catch Superman Night 1.
Awesome. Yeah, you know you're gonna want to be there for that. Yeah. And when I think about when we go and watch this,
avoid the internet for a weekend.
That's what I did for Thunderbolts because I was on the fence with it because it was gonna be a late showing, but it was gotta get in there. But as far as Superman or super people films go, I know that you know what the bottom of this rating really is, and that's Supergirl from 1970. We covered that as part of this podcast, and so we know what a bad super person DC film looks like, and I highly doubt this is going to get anywhere close. So stay tuned for when we cover that, because that's going to be fantastic. But I think that's all I have here, so we will just do what we normally do here, which is button things up by saying, my name is George Serrano, a.k.a. The Don.
I am Gregory Thomas, a.k.a. GT Rebirth.
And this has been our recap and review of the Dark Avengers issues 1 through 9. And remember, whether you're a god of war, you can't stop eating your friends, or you just have a goblin in the back of your head telling you really awful things, remember that we are the Click. Remember that, what else stuff you should remember? remember that you could always be more good than bad. Remember that redemption is right there on the cusp. I feel like this was a very dark episode, so I'm trying to motivate the people.
Remember that there is no void.
Remember that there is no void. There's only Zool, which they make that joke in the comic too, which is pretty funny.
Yes, they did.
But if you remember absolutely anything else, always remember that you, yes, you are worthy. Bye, guys.